Hello race fans, Numbers Guy here as we continue our review of 2011 Breeders' Cup races. We're now going to take a look at the Breeders' Cup Marathon, which was the first Breeders' Cup last year on Saturday's races. And again, what we're doing is we're showing you the horses in finish order along with the number that they earned in the Breeders' Cup. So with no further ado, I find these mile and three-quarter marathon races to be extremely difficult to handicap. And it's simply because it's such a long race, and there are very few races in the United States, certainly, that are anything like this. This is actually a 14 furlong race, which is 1 mile plus another 6 furlongs, and horses in the U.S. just do not run this far. So when we have a 41-1 winner, A Fleet again, it's not really that huge of a surprise that it is a surprise. So taking a look at his number, and he ran really big in the Breeders' Cup, ran a 5.6, and his pattern is actually not so bad. You can see in July he got down to a 7.2 and then backed up somewhat all the way to a 14.2, and then turned the corner again in October, ran a 9.7. This is a nice looking pattern, certainly, even though the 7.2 is a little bit slow compared to these others, but he's certainly moving forward, and he has run a couple of times at long distances, at 1.5 miles and even 1.5 miles on the turf. But at 41-1 winner, holy cow. Horse that ran second was probably the horse that I thought had the best chance of running good in here, a horse named Bird Run. And you can see that back in July he ran a 5.6, had a little bit of time off, comes back, runs a 6.2, and he'd previously run at fairly long distances, 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles, and had done fairly well. He's had a nice looking pattern, some pretty low numbers, and he ran second at 5-1. Certainly a horse that you would definitely consider here. Giant Oak ran third, and his numbers were pretty good, but again, they're going the wrong way. 3.4, then a 4.3, then a 5.3. He just looked like a horse that was backing up. Interesting in here is Pleasant Prince, and who worked his way down to a 1.1, which is extremely fast. I likely might have considered running him in the Breeders' Cup Mile. His 1.1 was earned at a 1.16 miles, so he's got 5.5 furlongs farther to run on this, and his 1.1 was also a big move forward, so you would expect somewhat of a bounce, and he ran credibly, ran fourth in this race at 12-1, and certainly did okay for himself. The horse that really had a nice looking pattern here is Cease. You can just see that he improved down 8.6, 5.7, 4.6. So looked like he was going to run well. He ran okay. Again, the stretch out in distance, and he'd never gone beyond 1.25 miles before. So again, we've got distance and conditions just are tough here. It's hard to extrapolate where they're going to go. Eldafar, 6.6, and then backed up to an 8.8. He ran okay. He actually won the race last year, but it just didn't look like he was headed forward either. Barishnikov, he ran about where you'd think he'd run in here. Brigantine had very good French form coming over into the race, but he'd actually never run on anything but turf. So to expect him to run well on dirt, it's just a hard thing to do. Misna, the same sort of thing. He ran really good on the Great Britain turf races, but again, you have no idea how he's going to do over here, and he did not do very well. AU Minor was a bit of a surprise in how poorly he ran, but as you can see, his numbers are real low here. He's run a 5.1 and a 5.3, but his races are real spread out. Again, indicating a horse that's probably got some physical or some kind of problems limiting him. As it turned out, he went off at the favorite, finished dead last. Actually, he was away awkwardly, is the quote, and then pulled up in distress. So the physical problems appeared to take shape in the race, and he just ran far, far back. Anyway, a fleet again, nice looking pattern. You know, please continue to take a look at these patterns. When you get circle back kind of thing going on, even though that it's slower than the other horses in the race, it's certainly worth paying attention to. And this horse scored at 41 to 1. Okay, we'll be back with the next race on Saturday's last year's Breeders' Cup coming up.